So welcome everyone. It's so lovely to have you here. My name, for those of you who don't know, is Rochelle, and I live in England. Homeschool my two children, who are 13 and 9, and I'm a women's guide. I don't really know how to describe what I do, but the principles, the through line of my work is freedom and sovereignty in every aspect imaginable that we can get. So I teach women about nutrition and how to, be in love with their bodies again. Hope, many aren't. Foraging, growing food. I am a moon mother, so I work with women around their cyclical energies. And I had a big business with doTERRA essential oils that some of you may have heard of, which certainly, supported my family financially for a long time, as well as the rest of my work. But I came to Healy with a very, very strong sacral pull. I'm a generator in human design with a sacral authority, and it was a very strong sacral pull for me to come to Healy in August last year. And I now have a beautiful community of 500 and growing in this space. And I'm very, very happy to be here with you all today. So just to give you a little foundation in terms of the structure of today, I am going to first of all introduce, where the Healy came from and its background. We've then got Catherine, who's going to come in and share more about how the Healy works, basically, and a little bit of her story. We then have Victoria that's going to come in and share a really incredible testimonial. And then I'm going to just jump in and do a live quick run around of the Healy. I've got it plugged into the computer so you can see live time how it works, because I know practically it's useful to be able to see how it works. And then I'm going to offer at the end, before the Q&A, because I'm very happy to stay for a Q&A, I'm going to offer the opportunity for people to learn, if they want to learn a little bit, how you can create income with Healy, just really by having an affiliate link, and more if you want to. So that's how we're starting. That's how we're progressing throughout this next hour. So just a bit of background. By the way, I'd love to know in here if you already have a Healy. It would be good to know who has one and who doesn't. But just a little bit of a background on Healy. So Healy was created by a man called in Germany called Markus Schmieker, or Schmeiker. I never quite know how to pronounce it. I'm actually meeting him next week, so I need to learn how to pronounce it properly. But he is a trained quantum physicist, and he was actually in monkhood when he got the calling to create Healy. He was a Vedic monk, and he had this calling to create, not Healy actually, first of all, it was a large machine called a time waver machine that practitioners use to work with frequency with the human body for supporting emotional, physical, spiritual well-being. And the time waver practitioners that still exist today, they are incredible practitioners that work very, very specifically with lots and lots of specific ailments to support with this frequency, with the time waver technology, to support their clients. Now, I was listening to a podcast the other day, which is such an incredible podcast. I recommend you all go and listen to it. There's a podcast called The Lifestylist, I believe it's called. Luke Story is his name. And he was talking to a chiropractor called Dr. Stephen Schwartz. And I was alerted to it by my friend Elise, because he mentions Healy at the beginning of it. The way she came across this podcast is very interesting in itself. But in this podcast, he speaks about this, the fact that frequency and using frequency to support our health has been something that has always, for a long time actually now, been in the hands of practitioners. But there is this movement, this revolution to bring frequency into the home. And a lot of people, because of this quantum entanglement that exists, were having this idea at the same time. And Dr. Schwartz actually speaks about how he had an idea similar to Healy at the same time that Marcus was having it. It was super interesting, but Marcus got there first, but he just thought it was fascinating how within this quantum field, these ideas were coming to the same kind of people at the same time. But Marcus has brought this to us. Marcus has brought the Healy to us, and that was his intention to, yes, have these incredible practitioners that work with time weather and other larger frequency devices, but to provide us as, humans, as individuals, as parents, as, people within, who want to bring health and taking care of their health and the responsibility for taking care of their health into their own hands, right? There's a big movement towards that, thank goodness. And Healy is there and was invented to be part of that. And so that came about in 2017. The first Healy was out there, and Marcus' original intention was actually that the practitioners would share it, but for whatever reason, they weren't sharing it in the way that he wanted. He had a big vision for this to be in the hands of as many humans as possible. And so he went with a model instead. That was my dog, not a ghost, just so you know. So he went with a model, and he's just had a bath. Hang on one sec here. Okay, I don't know, he's going to be a bit noisy. I don't know where my husband is. So he went with a model instead of people sharing it with people. Do you mind just taking that out? So he went with a model instead of people sharing it with other people. And that's what we're here doing with you today. We're, humans, often women, but, we're definitely calling in men to be part of our community that have fallen in love with this. Women traditionally are looking for ways to bring healing into the home, bring health into the home, bring well-being into the home. And, more and more we're looking for alternatives outside of the system. And when we start using Healy, we become incredibly passionate about its abilities to support our bodies, and we share it with others. And that's what we're doing here with you today. So we're really excited about it. There are incredible frequency experts that are involved with Healy and creating the programs that we have access to through Healy. There are so many programs available to us, and Catherine is going to talk a little bit now about what the Healy can do, and then we're going to, like I say, have Victoria come share, and then I'll give you a bit of a live demo. So over to Catherine. I'll replace the spotlight. There we go.
There we go. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited, to share about this device. I've been using my Healy for almost a year now, and it's been an incredible transformation for me. I want to just share very quickly my very first experience with Healy, because I saw in the chat a few of you were like, I just got mine a few days ago. I'm so excited to use it. And I remember being in that space and but I still had just a little bit of that, like, is it going to work for me? I'd heard these incredible stories of people using their Healy device, and I was a little bit just like, how is this going to work for me? What's my body going to do? What is this experience going to be like? I was really curious. And I will never forget the first time I put on these straps And I ran a program, which I think it's exciting. Rochelle's going to run through that and you can see the different, just how this works, right? So I chose the program that I wanted to run and I put it on as I was taking my kids to the pool. And after the 45 minutes or 50 minutes or so, and you have to understand, I was so depleted. My hair was falling out. I was absolutely exhausted. It took a lot of effort for me to get out of bed in the morning. I was chronically exhausted and quite a lot of imbalance in my body at the time. And after running that very first program, I wanted to get in the pool and play with my kids. I had such a surge of presence and I felt like I had just gotten charged. And so that is actually a really great kind of illustration on what microcurrent does to our physical body, right? So when we choose a program, and especially when you're wearing the wristbands, you are receiving a microcurrent treatment. And depending on what program you choose, like right now I'm running a concentration program, so I'm feeling super alert, very, very present, right? And the Healy device is in constant communication with my information field around what is this being needing the most right now. And in the library of frequencies within a certain program, my body is going to be delivered the frequencies that are the most appropriate for my bioenergetic field at that moment. So we are really, I just have continued to accept, because this is such a big deal, to accept that we now have access to things that are working really, really rapidly. So the microcurrent, it does a lot of things, but one of the big things I wanted to make sure I could really speak to today is imagine that the cells in your body are like batteries, and the microcurrent is literally charging energy into the cells of your body. And so that was why that first day that I had my first, experience with the program, I never jumped in the pool and played with my kids. That was not me. I was there just to be okay, I'm going to sunbathe. You guys are going to play. And that was always our routine. But with that jolt of more energy coming into my physical cells, I was way more present. I was way more available. And so when our bodies can receive sort of the charge that they need, it could be in your digestion, it could be in your sleep, it could be whatever is needing that harmonization in your body. When we get that charge, we're so much more available to life. And so that's why I have just been so passionate about sharing this, because it's really, really powerful. So if you think of your body as a battery, and this is something that's coming in with a supercharge, right? Especially with the microcurrent when you're wearing the wristbands. It's such a powerful way to be more available to life and more available to yourself. I could just go on and on about all of the different aspects of our being that have been, for myself, that have really been improved, especially using this consistently over the last year. So so I wanted to touch very briefly on the quantum sensor, how that's in constant communication with your bioenergetic field. That's a really big deal. And that there is such an infusion of actual current, right, of energy going into your field. So that's just really what I wanted to share, is the power of more energy. I think that's something that we're all constantly, really searching for and wanting to wake up to. And this has worked so effectively and elegantly for me in my life. So is there anything else that I should touch on, Rochelle?
I just think it'd be interesting to know the kind of I mean, obviously I'll show it, but the 3 uses. So you've spoken about the microcurrent, but maybe the coil and also the blue app and the vibrations into the.
Yeah, okay, great. So right here, I have the coil, you guys. This is what it looks like. And you can see in the device right now, it's plugged in, right? Like I'm connected to this device. And so I'm receiving a microcurrent treatment currently as this is running. I also wear this wirelessly, so you can actually put this in, and then I usually just tuck it into my shirt or my pocket in my pants, and I'll wear it out and about. Sometimes I'll even have it in my purse. And you can actually run most of the programs are compatible with this guy, so you're not hooked up to the wires. And that is creating a toroidal field, essentially, like around your being, where that information from the program is really, really with you. So the microcurrent, this is, you know, every time I'm coaching someone through like getting started with their Healy, you want to experience this. I mean, it's so incredible. But this is awesome. This is really, really nice to have too, especially just being out and about and living, you know, our modern lives. And then we have the Blue app, which is a different app, a different set of frequencies that are sending information. The way that I see that is it's sort of the root of the subconscious beliefs or or attitudes or perspectives that we have that are maybe keeping us away from like our most you know, like our most whole expression as humans, right? We all have different beliefs and subconscious patterns or just things that we have been programmed with. And that Blue app will send these frequencies to really work on, I experience it as a much deeper subconscious reprogramming. So the Blue app is a whole world in its own that I really love using. It works with your auric field. It works with the subconscious mind. You can also send, you know, frequencies to friends, family, your relatives, people in your household through that Blue app as well. So there's so much available to us with the microcurrent, the Blue app, being able to take it wirelessly with us anywhere. And then I've also you guys might, you know, I've got my Mag Healy running as well, which is working in a little bit of a different way. So yeah, we're so well resourced here in this community. So that's just a little touching in to the different frequencies and microcurrents that we have here. It's just such a dream.
Yeah, it's amazing that we have this. Let me add me in here. There we go. Yeah, it's just so amazing that we have these so many different capacities available to us with the Healy. I'm going to show you in a minute how you can scan yourself to see which programs you need to run. And for some reason, my dog decided to get really excited again as I started talking. But yeah, the microcurrent, the power of it, you know, it's been shown that unhealthy cells, and, you know, I'm not mentioning anything specific here on purpose, but unhealthy cells are very, very low voltage. And healthy cells are a high voltage, and we're using the microcurrent, like Catherine said. Like some people, by the way, because like this month, and some of you may know this, but the coil actually comes for free with the Healy, and normally it's around £200 or $225. And it's great, and people get it and they're like, oh, I'll just plug in and like use the coil, and it is amazing for sending those frequencies into our magnetic field in that way, and using them more easily in some ways without the wires. But the microcurrent is so powerful, and I always say to people, like, you know, yes, use the coil, yes, have it there as a fantastic tool, but the real, you know, powerful benefits that come from microcurrent cannot be disregarded. So many benefits. And in fact, in Europe, I can say this, In Europe, the Healy in part is actually medically registered for pain and for mental health because of the benefits of microcurrent for those things. So in Europe, it's actually registered for that medically. And you can unplug these little wires as well and plug, the wrong end there. You can unplug these wires and you can put them onto sticky pads like this and put them onto areas of discomfort in the body to help support, a bit like a TENS machine. I don't know if you have those in America, but it's working with frequency in the body for many benefits in terms of the microcurrent. And then we get all these other cool aspects as well that I'll show you in a second. So yeah, it's very exciting. It's so vast compared to other frequency devices. People will say like, oh, but I already tried this and I've already used that, but it's just so vast what we can do here, because of this kind of more traditional kind of microcurrent aspect, but then also this quantum sensor that Catherine spoke about that is just opens it up to a whole new level. So I'm going to ask Victoria now to come and speak. So first of all, I'll ask you to unmute, otherwise I'll lose you, and then I'll replace the spotlight. Are you there? Can you unmute? No? Okay. It's fun. Hang on. Now? Okay, great.
You can hear me.
Yay, we can hear you. So I asked Victoria to come and share because she shared something in our group yesterday, and I just thought it was really powerful. And yeah, share as much as you want to, but welcome, Victoria.
Thank you for having me. It's a big story and I'll probably cry, so I'll just take a deep breath before we start. So like most people, we had the joys of COVID in December 21, and for us it was just a cold and we all recovered and got back on with our lives. And then a month after we had it, my daughter Eva started feeling really fatigued and she started presenting with abdominal pain. And I took her to the GP, the doctor, and he said, oh, this is just mesenteric adenosis. It's really common in children. The lymph nodes in their abdomen swell up. It will go down after a couple of weeks. But while it was inflamed, it was so painful for her. She couldn't eat with the pain. And it didn't go away. It didn't go away after 2 weeks. And she started to fade. She's a tiny little thing. And she started to disappear in front of our eyes, not eating, not being able to sleep. Yeah, it was tough. It was really tough. So what do? You go back to the drawing board. And I went to our GP, and Eva had to experience a lot of invasive procedures because they were convinced that she had a stomach problem. And it was really horrendous because I was insistent it wasn't gastro. There was nothing wrong with her stomach. She was peeing, pooping, no indigestion. Like when she could eat, she was fine. I just knew, as a mum, what's going on. I knew it was post-COVID. And so as soon as we had all of that confirmed, they just sort of washed their hands of us. I guess that they don't know what to do with it all yet. And I continued our journey, and we went down the route of all sorts of alternative therapies, Reiki, reflexology. We changed her diet, we added various supplements, we changed lifestyle, but she was still off school nearly all the time. She had to leave all of her clubs. She had no energy. She just, she wasn't growing, she wasn't eating, she was losing her friends. It was awful, and it affects the whole family. It's different when one of the parents is ill because the other parent will pick up the slack and carry on if you live in that nuclear family. But when a child is ill, then one of the parents has to stay with them, and the family gets split all the time. The impact is huge, not just on the child, but on everybody. We were getting quite desperate. We were 5 months in, nothing was changing. And I heard about a guy who did energy healing. And so I went along to see him. Amazing guy, lives totally off grid, doesn't even have windows so that no one knows he's there. And we went in and he lay Eva down on a bed and he did this crazy shit. He was pulling demons and stuff out. I don't know, I don't care. But she walked out of that room. She was talking, she was strong. She came into our house. She made herself scrambled eggs on toast and woofed it all down. She was Eva again, literally within minutes of seeing him. I was like, what the hell is this energy healing? But 2 days later, she crashed again. And I was like, okay, what do we do? Go back. We can't keep this up. We can't have her well for 2 days. And then I have to see him again. And he was devastated. But it just opened my eyes. There's something in this energy healing. And I mentioned it to a friend who's a homeopath. And she said, oh, actually, I practice bioresonance treatment. Come and see me. Bring Eva to me. So again, I didn't know so much about bioresonance at the time. And Eva was in a really painful setback at the time, and I took her to see my friend. Her name's Jo, and she treated Eva. Nothing happened. But then 2 days later, back to normal, literally back to normal, could eat her dinner, walk to school, carry out all her activities. It was like nothing had ever happened. And I was so relieved. And I thought, this is it. We know we're moving forward. And then 2 weeks later, she crashed again. The pain was back. The exhaustion was back. And I thought, what do we do? So we go back to Jo and she treats her. 2 days later, she gets well. We carry on. 2 weeks later, she gets sick. And this is the state that we have been in for a year, of her being well for 2 weeks, having a relapse, having a treatment, and getting well again. And then 2 weeks later, she crashes. And then obviously, because the universe knew that we needed more help, Healy starts popping up on my Instagram. If there's one thing Instagram's good for, it brought me the Healy. So I was following Jessica, following a couple of other people, and I messaged Jess and I was like, this is my daughter. What do I do? And she said, oh, let me hook you up with Rochelle. So I hooked up with Rochelle and I bought a Res Plus. And I bought it because I thought, I know it's energy, I know it's frequency. Can this support the treatment that I'm taking Eva for every 2 weeks? Can it back that up in some way? And so I started doing the Gold Cycle 2-week protocol at the beginning that they suggest to kind of get you used to using the Healy. And Eva had a relapse. And so I took her to Jo, and normally her recovery time was 48 hours. And this time it was 29 hours. And I was like, what the hell? She's like recovering quicker. Okay, there's some hope, we keep going. And then 2 weeks later, she relapsed again, but her recovery was quick again. And then we went on holiday and I thought, what am I going to do if Eva gets sick? I have the Healy, but I'm not finding a way of stopping these relapses. And I don't quite know how to move her on from them without Jo's help. I felt really codependent, really reliant. And so I heard about Jai, the guy from the School of Frequency. He had a program called Inflammation and Pain. So I contacted him and I bought that and I popped it onto the Healy. And inevitably, sadly, Eva had a relapse while we were on holiday. And I ran the Inflammation and Pain program on her. And he said, give it 3 days. And at the end of the 3rd day, she got up, she jumped in the swimming pool, she ate her dinner and she was fine. And I was like, okay, this isn't that different to what she's had when she's had a bioresonance treatment at home. But I'm now able to give this to her frequently. So we started running this program on her every other day. And she hasn't got sick again. And she's well, and she's eating a massive plate of fish and chips in the kitchen. And she's been to musical rehearsals this evening, and she goes wakeboarding every Friday. And like, look, I cannot be more grateful for the support that we've received. And the ladies in my community, my UK community, have really nurtured us on this journey, because it's been really highs and lows, but we're here. And yeah, it's a big deal, which is why I'm doing. So thank you for listening. And oh, bless you, Healy. And yeah, all power to Healy. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to start doing for me now I can get my hands on it, 'cause she's been on it every hour of the day.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Victoria. Like, I know, like, you know, obviously I've been following the journey right from the beginning, and yeah, it's really, it's such a powerful story. I'm so happy for you both, for all of you, because like you say, it impacts the whole family. And yeah, it just comes back to what I shared at the beginning as well, this idea of like, you know, bringing, you know, responsibility for our health back into the home. I mean, even when we're looking for natural alternatives, you know, as you are, as many of us are, you know, yeah, practitioners are amazing. And I'm so grateful for them. And Jai, that you spoke about, he is a time waiver practitioner, right? And so that's what I was saying, these time waiver practitioners are pretty cool, and they can create expert programs that we can put on the Healy, and that's what Victoria has. But yeah, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking me. For me, it's really important that people know that big changes can happen. Yes, subtle changes for a lot of us, and I know children respond much quicker than adults, thankfully in our case. But I know that there's so much to be said for frequency, and I'm just really happy to share our experience so that hopefully other people can benefit too.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm back on the spotlight. Okay, so I want to share with you quickly now what it looks like. So I'm going to have to, very sadly for me, unplug myself so I can show you this. So let me get my screen up. You'll see I just got a missed call off my dad, probably. He was trying to call me. Hopefully he doesn't try and call me through this. Okay, so there are 2 apps that we use for the Healy. I'm going to show you what we call the Blue app first. Now, the Blue app actually is in 5 days, we're getting a new version. So those of you who buy your Healy after this call, you'll probably be using a new version of the Blue app, but the principles will be the same. So this is this one here. And then we also have this pink app here, which I'll go in and show you, because you kind of often will use the Blue app before you use the pink app. So I was trying to do it with my key, with my mouse then, but I need to do it on my phone. So here we go. So we're connecting the Healy into, well, actually, no, it'll connect in a minute. So you can see here, so I've got the professional model of the Healy. So I've got the top model that you can get. Most people start with the Resonance Plus and the professional model, and I'll explain a little bit about the differences of those in a minute. But you know, the Resonance also has this Blue app capability. The difference with the Resonance, just so you know, so you're getting used to these terms, is that it only has that resonance analysis at the top. It doesn't have the coaching analysis, and it doesn't have the aura analysis. But the models that most people buy, the Resonance Plus or the professional model, they do have all of this that you're seeing here in the Blue app here. So if I just kind of quickly, I'm just going to quickly, the aura analysis is basically scanning your chakras and reporting back to you where you have imbalances in a really sophisticated way, like more than I'm explaining it. And then you can, you don't actually use a program with wrist straps or with the coil. You actually vibrate the frequencies to yourself. And this is where this Blue app is using the quantum sensor, and it's working in the quantum field. I don't think any of us in here are quantum physicists, but in short, what it means is that we have the capacity to be able to access, you know, every dimension where there is no space, there is no time. Quantum physics has shown us, they broke down the atom to a subatomic level. Protons, electrons, neutrons are just whirling pools of energy, and everything is made up of atoms, right? And therefore, everything is made up of energy. Matter is just down to our human perception of our 5 senses. And we have the capacity to tap into infinite possibilities, infinite realities, when we open ourselves up to the realization that, you know, everything is energy. And it really is. Everything is ultimately just light. And I know this is such a huge concept, and some of you will be already you know, aware of it all. But there's a great book that I like as a starting point, that's called A Happy Pocket Full of Money, and it's about money too, which I also like. But there's a great introduction there about quantum physics. But Marcus, as a quantum physicist, has created in the Healy a tool which allows us to read our original blueprint in the quantum field and receive information back from the Healy that, first of all, we can work with. We can use the reports that we get back to, you know, do our, you know, in this material world work of, you know, I don't know whether it's journaling or some coaches more and more are using this information to create specific hypnosis for their clients, or working with EFT, or just, you know, normal coaching. We get a lot of information that's given back to us by the Healy as to what is where we're out of alignment, from stopping us from living our most optimal, you know, truest version of ourselves. And the aura analysis is working with that around the chakras. And I'm just going to give you that as a foundation. The coaching analysis is very cool. So this is where I have to go and find myself. So you can see you can add many people into your Blue app. You can have it there to scan as many people as you want, or your family, or your clients. If you're a therapist or a coach and you work, or a practitioner, you're working with different kinds of people all the time, you can, you know, have as many people stored in this Blue app as you want. So then we can just go in and we can add in a focus, and we say it as if it's happened, because every reality is possible and available to us. But I am so happy eating my delicious dinner. You do more profound things than this, but I'm just giving you an example with my family. I mean, you can put really profound things in here, and I do. I'm going to get really specific here. At 8 p.m. tonight, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just giving you as an example. Normally you would put in a goal, like a relationship goal, or a career goal, or a money goal, or, you know, something, you know, that you're working on spiritually. And then you can choose the categories where you want it to report information back to you. So what am I going to want for my dinner? I'm going to have my family relationships, because I'm going to be with my family. Have got personal relationship there. It's a goal to eat my dinner. It's my potential. I'm just choosing really random ones here, but this is what we do. And then I wonder what Healy's got to say to me about this. We're running the analysis on that goal here within these information points that are available to us. So okay, so then what we've got here is a very detailed report, and I'm not going to get into a lot of this now, but the first percentage is how resonant it is for our body. The next number means that we are dealing with it. It's very subconscious for us. And actually, it's quite difficult if someone presents us with this information, because we're not aware of it. So normally when you're working with people, it's easier to work with any number that comes up over 6. And then the next letters and numbers show us whether it's coming from the misalignment, the blocks are coming from our ancestors, whether it be our parents, our grandparents, or something karmic. So we can get really, really deep into much more important things than me having my dinner. I just want to kind of show you this visually. And then what we do using the Blue app is we actually vibrate those frequencies to ourselves. So this is where, when Catherine was talking earlier, she was saying that we can use the Blue app distance, because it works where there is no space, there is no time. So we can add people into our Blue app and actually work with them distance using the Healy, because it doesn't need to be anywhere near them. So and then vibrate the frequencies to them in this way. So that's the coach, and it's similar to how the aura scan works. What I'm just going to show you here is the other databases that are available to us. So we can actually scan for homeopathy. That's quite a long scan. I won't do it now. You can see there are 347 information points available there. So that takes a long time to scan through. So people can run that to help decide which remedy they need. And homeopaths on my team are certainly having incredible results using that. We can scan for gem elixirs. So they make an elixir from the crystal. So you can scan and see which crystals are most resonant for you. I really love to use to scan here for the backflow remedies. They are pretty shadowy in terms of what they throw up. I'll just show you how this works. So the new app, we're not going to have a fingerprint there because it does confuse people. It's not taking my fingerprint. It just wants me to hold intention in my body. Your screen can't record your fingerprint. And if it could, people shouldn't text on it because then it would be recording their fingerprint all the time. So I'm just going to hold intention that I want the Healy to, deliver to me the correct remedies for me. Here we go. So I figured out the other day why some of these are quite shadowy. It's because Healy, because of compliance reasons, are not actually allowed to tell you the physical reason that you might need this remedy as well. And so they're just not allowed to say things that are really specific in the physical realm, because in terms of physical health, because natural health, natural alternatives to health, it's not allowed. Bad news for the pharmaceutical industry. So they talk about it from an emotional perspective, why you might be choosing that remedy. But then you can go and Google that remedy, and it's very interesting what comes up from the physical aspects that do correlate to things you have going on. And it's the same with the homeopathic remedies as well. But what we can do here is we can run these, we can see what's coming up, and some of this is not necessarily coming from us, it's coming again ancestrally, and we can use the remedy, or the frequencies of the remedy are stored within the Healy. So we can also we can also vibrate those frequencies to us as well. So that's one of the capacities again within the Blue app, and there's the I Ching in there. There are so many cool ways that we can use this scan within the Healy, and then the vibration available here within the Blue app. Now, I just want to show you how the Blue app and the Pink app correlate and how we get into using microcurrent and the coil. So I'm going to now scan myself here for all of the Healy programs that exist within the Pink app. And I have all of them because I have the professional model. So there are 229. I actually have a few more because I bought a few other program groups as well. There are a couple more that you can add on to buy, although they're actually free, certainly in Europe this month when you buy the professional model. So I'm going to scan myself and see which program my body wants to receive through microcurrent. So the first thing I do is I scan in the same way, and it will bring up a list of program groups. Okay, so this one came up for me the other day as well. This one will probably be removed when they create the new app, because the Deep Cycle programs have actually been replaced by something called Deep Cycle H. But the next program group that's come up for me is called the Soul Cycle program. So I'm going to go with that one because that one exists in the Pink app. So what I do now is there's 12 programs available to me in the Soul Cycle. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But I want to know which one the Healy wants me to run. So I'll go here again. I'll find the Soul Cycle programs, and I will scan myself within those. You don't have to have such a sultry picture as me in the Blue app. Okay, so stimulation. Great. So I know that that is the program that I need to be using for myself within the Pink app. So what I do is I completely close off this app here and I go into my Pink app. Now, this is where all of the programs are stored. They're not stored in the Healy because the Healy head doesn't have the capacity to hold all of these frequencies. There are a million frequencies available to us through the Healy. It doesn't have the capacity to store all of them itself. So within the Pink app, we have all of the, basically it's the software, and depending on which model you get depends on how much, will then depend how much software you have, how many programs you have available to you. The Healy is always the same. The hardware is the same. The programs increase as you go up the models. So we have the gold cycle programs here. They're foundational programs that we often run in the first 2 weeks to get our body used to frequencies. We have local stimulation programs, which are for discomfort in different parts of the body. And, I'm not allowed to use the word perhaps because we've got American people on here, but if you can guess what I mean by discomfort. We have the learning programs, which are, really supportive for people that, need support with concentration and memory, learning, fitness programs, they do what they say on the can. We have nervous system and sleep programs, mental balance programs, beauty and skin. These programs really support the different systems within the body. They're not, again, allowed to say specifically, and they've changed some of the names recently because of that, but imagine what you are and therefore what you have when you shiver. What might you have going on in your body? If you're looking to defend yourself against something, what part of your body is trying to kick in there? What body system? So these support, that what happens to women once a month, they're at the bottom. What happens as a woman matures, it's kind of, you can guess what these names mean. So these are the bioenergetic harmony programs. We then have programs that work with the meridians in the body, the chakras. These programs work for energetic protection. So EMF protection, general kind of being around people, protection for ourselves, planetary energy protection. Again, these are working with different parts of the body. These programs are incredible. They're created by a guy called Jan Frederick, who created these programs that you can use as a protocol to help cleanse the body in different formulas, depending on what parts of the body tend to struggle most for you. And then with the professional model, we have these digital nutrition programs. So they're frequencies of nutrition. And this podcast that I was listening to the other day, again, he said, we're gone past the days where 3D kind of supplements are really what the body needs, especially these new humans that are coming into this world, these younger generations. Their bodies are attuned to frequency. And so I love that this, this is available to us, these frequencies of different nutrients. And there are 6 of those program groups available here within the professional model. We then have the power of 3, which is working again with a very specific protocol, drawing upon different elements, including Ayurvedic principles, to really, support the body, bringing it back into balance with where we are in the state of the world today, bringing our body back into harmony, based on, everything that's going on in our external environment. Soul cycle programs, these are the ones that came up for me. And then these programs are actually to bring our body back into the circadian rhythm. And these 2 that I mentioned are ones that I have actually purchased and added on, but are actually available for free, certainly in Europe this month. And maybe someone can tell me if they're also available in America. So Soul Cycle came up for me. It came up with stimulation. So I would just basically transmit that program to my Healy. This is how it works. So I'm transmitting the frequencies within that program to my Healy now. I have to have the Bluetooth on while it does that. But as soon as it's finished that, I will turn the Bluetooth off. I don't have Wi-Fi in my house. I don't use earpods. I use everything wired. There is no way I would have a device near me that had Bluetooth on all the times. And that's the case for most of us in this community. If the technology piece is a concern for you, just know that it has been a concern for all of us. And we have all done a lot of research and understood how this conscious technology is actually a very, very powerful addition into our lives. So I've transmitted that. I've turned up the percentage. You saw me do that just very organically there. I do it without thinking now. So I'm receiving the microcurrent through my body. My body is acting as the conductor. The water in my body is the conductor. I've got this connection through the wires and into the Healy. It's a whole circuit around my body. And I'm receiving the microcurrent and the voltage into my body to support it this time with my emotional and spiritual health. You know, our emotional centers are energetic, they're electric, they're not just a kind of imaginary concept. Our emotions are actually, you know, energy within our body. So turn off the Bluetooth, disconnected. It's still running on my Healy, you can't see. So whirlwind tour there of how to practically use the Healy. All of those programs that I showed you there, by the way, you can also plug into the coil, as Catherine showed you, and most of them, not all of them, sorry, and run them through the coil. So the last thing I want to share with you are just a couple of slides on how you can, when you have the Healy, you can use it yourself, obviously, but also, and primarily, but also you will get a link that you can share. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that. Just to give you a quick overview, it's very hard because we're coming from so many different countries. I'm not going to give you the full kind of rundown of the offers. Go back to who sent you here to give you the full rundown, but globally the Healy is 35% off this month. What that translates to in pounds is that the professional model that comes with everything is £2,366 with the discount there already included. The Resonance Plus is 1,482, and the Resonance, remember that doesn't come with the coach and it doesn't come with the Aura, is 887. And as you go down the models, you are reducing the number of programs you have available to you also on the Pink app. In euros, that looks roughly like, I've got the Spanish tax added on here, but 2,621 for the Pro, Resonance Plus 1,640, and the Resonance 982. I believe globally, but certainly in Europe and the UK, we definitely have the coil for free globally, but we have a lot of program groups available to us extra as well, including the Soul Cycle and the natural cycle for the higher model, and it equates to a lot of money. It's like 800 to 1,000 depending on what currency you're looking at. So it's a lot of money of really fantastic additional tools for free this month. Dollars, the professional 2,626, Resonance Plus 1,643, and the Resonance 984. So yeah, it's hard to cover a global costs there. Is it possible to scan essential oils? No, but did you notice when I did the backflow remedies that essential oil recommendations come up as well? Has everyone answered this question? Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Gabby, for that. Okay, so I'm just also really going to quickly share with you this. Just want to explain this. So when you get your Healy, you will also get a link if you sign up as a member, and I recommend everyone sign up as a member, because if you sign up as a customer, it's the same cost, you just don't get this link available to you. And basically, for every single sale that you make, you will make a commission. Whether you make one a week, one a day, one a month, one a year, one every 10 years, you will always make a commission on that sale with this link. So let's say this month somebody had sold 2 professionals to their friends. that person, no, let's not use 2 professionals as an example. Let's use 2 Resonance Pluses as an example. That person, because that volume of those orders, so we kind of talk about devices not just as the currency value, but as the volume amount. The total volume of those orders would be under 1,999, so they'd make 20% on every sale. So in euros, that's significant. For a professional, you're making 240 euros. And I believe dollars is pretty similar, equivalent to euro, similar-ish. So it's very significant, and it's, you know, it's nice to have a link that when you're using something and you're passionate about it, when you're talking to someone about it, you can share that with them, and that you will get the commission rather than a massive, you know, corporation taking the commission for that sale. As you then increase the amount that you might sell that month, so if you're starting moving into like selling 2 professionals that month, let's say, you actually will make 35% on both of those devices. And if you'd sold 3 professionals, you'd actually end up making 40% on those devices. So that's you know, nearly 1,500 euros and probably equivalent dollars in that month from selling 3 professional models. So this part of the compensation plan is really there for everyone who falls in love with their Healy, and, you know, they've bought it for themselves, they've bought it for these incredible benefits that they can bring into their home that we've spoken about today, but then they want to, you know, they're talking to people very naturally about it, something that women do very well, and, you know, someone wants to buy it. This is really there and allows, you know, us to bring additional income into our homes. And, you know, coming back to that piece I spoke about, like my passion and the through line of my work is really about freedom and sovereignty. And a huge part of that for me is to help women, but men as well, also very much, of course, to have that financial sovereignty piece, like to not be beholden to the government, to not be beholden to an employer, to not be beholden to a partner or a family member. Like, we've been so trapped in that for so long. And to have a model that's available to us around something that's so transformative and so future, you know, thinking in terms of the future, although, you know, really it's no longer the future. We're here in the present. We're aware and able to receive, like I spoke about. We're empowered now with this frequency technology within our home, but a company that really is there on the forefront of thinking about and wanting to empower people around their health, to then have this additional piece of financial sovereignty coming into the home as well is incredibly powerful. And it really, you know, lights me up to share Healy more, you know, not just because of the device, but also because of this capacity that's available to us here. For those people who want to, and I'm not going to go over this now, but there will be some people possibly on the call that are, you know, more interested in the compensation plan. I love strategy. I'm not shy to like say that. I absolutely love strategy. I love money. It's cool. I'm really, really happy to say it. This is you know, an overview of the whole compensation plan, just to show you how many layers there are to it. If you did want to start building your own community with Healy, you have access to, you know, many, many layers of the compensation plan that are really, really generous. And that might look super complicated, but actually it's very, very simple when you get down to it. So I think that's kind of it from me. I will allow people to unmute. And I think, hang on. Oh, here we go. So does anyone have any questions? You can unmute yourselves now. And yeah, absolutely. So whoever invited you here will be in touch with you, and they will share with you all the details specific to your region for what the offers are. And yeah, anything else that you need from them, they'll be there for you. It's one of the beautiful things about this is the community. Like, it is so like heartfelt and expansive, and you know, so many of us are so used to like dealing with things alone in whatever capacity it is, whether it's our health or our you know, especially when we're looking for natural alternatives to health, we very much feel alone with it. But whether it's, you know, that, or, you know, working on our own, or, you know, so many things we're kind of, especially when we're like, yeah, more out there with our thinking, we're not used to being around that many like-minded people. But you come into this space, you'll have more like-minded people than you could ever have imagined. So the community is just truly incredible. Any other questions? Feel free to unmute yourselves. It's always nice to hear you. Or if not, just go, because I'm certainly done. So you can go, and I will stick around if anyone has any questions. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Lovely working with you too, Ali.
Thank you, ladies. This was amazing. Love you all.
Love you.
Love you so much. Thank
Aw,
you. Incredible, incredible talk.
Thank you so much.